What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about different ways to style React components. We will cover CSS modules, style components, and Tailwind CSS. So let's get started. With CSS modules. Let's create a button module first and a button component. Let's add a bit of styling to the button class like background color, and padding. We can also add some border radius and a cursor pointer. After that, we can create our button component that will say click me. We can then into our button component add styles from our button module. First we import the file and then add styles.name of the class. Okay, cool. So let's import our button component into our app file. And now we can add another class in our module that will represent the primary state of our button. Let's just add a background color of dark blue. Then in our button component, we can add a prop as primary, which will represent the state of the button, which will basically be a Boolean value. Since we're using TypeScript, we have to add a type to the prop. We can now create a constant variable that will hold our classes and our state, which will basically say if the button is primary, apply the primary class. If it isn't, do not apply it. We then add our button class variable into the class name. Right, cool. In our app file, we can now add isPrimaryProp to the button component, and let's add another button component without the isPrimaryProp so we can see the changes. We can now check the buttons in our browser and see the difference. This was the basic example of CSS modules. Let's now switch over to styled components. So this library allows you to write CSS in your JS files, leveraging the full power of CSS. So let's create an alert component and let's import styled from styled components. Here we can introduce types for alert props and extend it with HTML div element props. Add a type that will be either an error or success. We then pass alert props types into our alert styled component. Define some styles. We will change background color based on the type of alert. As you can see, if the prop type is equal to error, we'll show the red color, and if it's not, we'll show the green color. Do the same thing for hover state based on the type of alert. Let us now create an alert message component. We add the same alert props type as our type of prop in the alert message component. We can now destructure our props. We need only type of children, and we can spread the rest. Now we can add our alert styled component, pass the necessary props to it. This makes the component very usable and flexible. We must not forget to export the component, and now we can use it in our app file. App, we can add two alert components. One is going to be of type error and one is going to be of type success. So as you can see, no children were passed, but we can still check how it looks in our browser. Now I've added two alert components that have the children passed to them. Yeah, we can check the result now. And now let's create the same button component that we created in CSS modules, but let's now use styled components. We do the same as an alert. We create the types, we pass the types to a styled component and to the component. Nice. Now we can create our style button component. The styles will basically be the same as in our module component. Background color and hover state will change their colors based on the primary prop state. Let's now create a button component that will take the same props and types as a styled component. And now we add a style component into our button component and pass the necessary props to it. So now in the same way, we will create a secondary button component, except this component will not take primary prop. Okay, now let's add a tertiary button component, except this component will inherit the base styles of a button styled component and add some additional ones or override the parent component styles. As you can see, we set up a new background color for the hover state and the normal state of the component. We must not forget to export the component. And now let's use our buttons in our app file so we can see what is going on. We import all three buttons in our file. We must not forget to add the margin right so the buttons have some spacing. And we can check it in our browser and see how it looks. Nice, and here we can see all three of our buttons. And finally, we can take a look at Tailwind CSS. Tailwind is a utility for a CSS framework that allows you to build custom designs quickly. Instead of writing custom CSS, you use predefined utility classes directly in your JSX. Tailwind setup will be in the description and you can check it out. Alright, cool. Now let's build a simple navbar component. We're gonna need some UL and LI HTML elements. On our nav element, we can add some Tailwind classes. like the background color blue and padding of 16 pixels. Unordered list element will get a utility class flex and utility class gap4, which means gap will be 16 pixels. Let's also add anchor elements. Let's give nav route some text so we can know what the route is called. We can also add hover states via Tailwind CSS, and let's change the text color. Alright, cool, let's check it in the browser and everything should be fine there. For the last bit, let me just quickly show you how to, for example, add a custom color to your Tailwind config file and how to use it. In your Tailwind config, in the extend object, you just add, for example, colors, and you add custom blue and input your color, and then you can use it in your file. Alright, let's quickly check in our browser if it has been applied, and that will be pretty much it. Yeah. Okay, so that was all for today's video. Let me know if you need some help with setting it up. Let me know, write in the comments if you need anything. If you're maybe missing like a GitHub repo or something, I can push this if it's needed. But yeah, drop a follow, give me a like on the video if you like it, and follow my Twitch where I code live basically every other day.